starting Wicklander tomorrow. Does that mean you still feel pretty confident with Connor starting on the weekend too?
Oh, yeah. I thought Connor threw well. I mean, a lot of the question was, you're going to start Wicklander or Connor, and, pretty much we were kind of split on it. Just kind of went with the guy that experienced on the weekend, and you look at his performance, he did a real good job against a really good lineup, wind blowing out, a lot of left-hand hitters in the lineup, and we feel like that, I just feel like that he's getting better, and I like his mentality, and it may not go well all the time, but he's young, and, he knows how to pitch.
We talked a little bit yesterday about Costi, but knowing he may not be back for 2 weeks, I mean, how does that really kind of stretch you guys out?
Yeah, it does stretch us out. We just hope our starters can give us more innings, and, we can get it going a little bit offensively, because we struggled all weekend offensively against Ole Miss pitching. We had a couple good innings here and there, but for the most part, we didn't do a whole lot. And, the schedule doesn't get any easier, even starting tomorrow night with Little Rock coming in, and then, hitting the road to Auburn, who's one of the top teams in the country. We've got our hands full, but we've got to have guys step it up, give us another couple innings. And when guys are called on out of the bullpen, they need to come in and do their job. If they do, we got a shot.
I think you mentioned yesterday that you might go with some different guys on the travel roster who can throw strikes. I mean, kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the travel roster it's always difficult, picking 27, and then you got a guy like Kostychuk who's not going to pitch, but I kind of want him to go anyway. If you're just bringing guys along that aren't going to pitch, maybe mix it up a little bit and let some of the other guys come along, even though the plans are maybe not to play them. And that's kind of what I'm talking about.
So does Denton now kind of come out of the pen earlier?
He could, and he's a guy that he's kind of a specialist guy, a guy that we feel like that, could get right-handers out. He does a nice job of getting under their hands and getting ground balls. And but, yeah, everybody moves up a little bit.
How do you approach Wicklander tomorrow, knowing you're probably going to need him on a short week?
We'll kind of see how the game's going. I just feel like the kid is he needs to pitch. He's given us a couple innings here and there, and we keep pulling him out, saving him for the weekend. Then we don't use him a whole lot on the weekend, and if he's throwing good, maybe we just let him go.
UALR, have anybody you looked at in recruiting or players here for them?
Yeah, there's some kids on their team that we've seen in recruiting, and they're good players, and they've got a lot of junior college kids, and they're always going to have an older team because they're going to have 4 or 5 JC guys starting in their lineup. But we played them in the fall. They didn't have their starting catcher, and I think one other starter. So they're going to be a different team and a better team.
How cool is it for the state? Just first time you guys are playing an in-state team.
I think it's great. I think it's great that on a Tuesday night you got 2 Arkansas schools playing each other, and should be a little more interest. Another coach, Coach Curry and I coached together. He's one of the better coaches I've ever been around, and really smart. And them catchers make good coaches, and he's a good one. So it gives us a chance to see him and his family a little bit. But I just think it's good for the state. I think it's good for baseball in the state of Arkansas. And I can tell you this, the state has gotten a lot better the last few years, and the talent that's coming out. I look at our 2020 class. We've got a lot of kids from in-state committed in that class, and they're difference makers.
How much did doing that scrimmage in the fall kind of help really get you guys ready for those?
I think it was good we played him in the fall, just because we've both seen each other, and it maybe takes a little stress off of both of us. And we both want to win, but it's not night and day. It's life or death, I guess. It's we have weekend series coming up, and ours coming up real quick. We leave the next morning, go to Auburn. So I think it makes it a little easier, since this is the first time that we've already kind of played each other, so to speak.
You touched on when you coached with Chris. McCann always credits him for developing him into a good catcher. What do you remember about that, and maybe what Chris did for your program this year?
I could obviously, when I got Chris here, it wasn't like he was a 21-year-old volunteer. He was an older volunteer coach, and I don't even like the title volunteer coach, because I think that's about to go away in the near future. He was one of our coaches, and I thought he did a great job with our catchers, and that's when McCann was here as a young guy, and I think he maybe calmed him down and helped develop him and taught him some tricks of the trade that probably advanced him a little bit. And you think back about McCann's freshman year, he had to beat out a senior, and we knew in the fall how good he was, split time early, but he caught like the last 30 games of the year. We went all the way to Omaha. So he was our guy, and he did it as a true freshman, and we won a couple games in Omaha that year. So he's special, and I think Chris really helped his development move on.
Dave, you mentioned Ezel's spot in the lineup. Could there be a wholesale shakeup on that, or what are you thinking?
We could move 2 or 3 guys around just to try to, change it up a little bit, see if we can get a little more production. I mean, we've got to get guys in the top of the order to drive in runs. I mean, like I said, when you're 9-hole hitters leading your team in RBIs, that's almost backwards. And unless your 9-hole hitter's got 10 home runs or something, and he doesn't. So we gotta get something that flows. We'll experiment with a little bit and see how it turns out.
With your relievers, is it almost just getting them to pitch to contact and believing in that, or how do you approach that with them with some struggles?
Yeah, and I mean, the guys that have pitched for us a lot, they're not worried about getting hit. I think it's some of the new guys, the young guys, they're worried about teams hitting them. But bottom line, you've got to throw the ball over the plate. The key is throw strike one. If you throw strike one, you can start nibbling a little bit. But I think there's a little bit in there of I don't want to give up hits, and from our side of it, we don't want to give up freebies. We don't want you hitting people and walking people.
With that Little Rock series, just how important has it been to get that kind of going now for what you guys are trying to do in the state?
Well, I think a lot of people appreciate it. Just people have commented that they're glad to see us play a couple of the in-state schools, and I know that the programs we're playing, they seem like they're all in. They're glad that they get to come up here and play, and we'll go down there eventually. Just because we get all the attention for the most part, and I think it's big for their teams and their kids, and get to play in Baum Stadium and in front of a lot of people, and it should be a good atmosphere.